Hello my friends, hope you're doing well today. I wanted to get this video made fairly quickly because my son's fixing to come home from school and we have our little routine that we do after school. And so I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's viewed the channel. Today I broke 500 views, and I'm just really extremely grateful that some of you all have been able to see my videos, and so I know some of you have been helped and encouraged, and that was, you know, apart from me just chronicling my own struggles, that was basically the primary purpose of the channel, was to be a source of encouragement and support for those of you and us who have a mental illness, or a family member with a mental illness, or a friend with a mental illness. And you know, that's what it's all about. And you know, if there was a pool table, in my front room in the house, and I go over and try to move it, man, I'm gonna have a real hard time. I probably won't even be able to move it. But if I get somebody else to come and help me, then the power between the two of us, we can move that pool table. And that's the way it works with mental illness and life in general, that we can't be alone in our struggles, and in order to move that pool table, in order to have that power that's greater than ourselves, we need each other. And there's hope in that. It doesn't instantly go away. It doesn't instantly make all your problems better, but it helps you know that you're not alone in the journey. And the power between the two of us is so much greater than just being alone. And there's a Bible verse that says a cord of 3 strands cannot be easily broken. 2 strands, yeah, but 3, it's a lot harder. And there's power in being with others or hearing others. And I think YouTube is an incredible tool for recovery and support for mental illness, for alcoholism, for drug addiction, for sexual abuse, for whatever struggles there are. And I look forward to continuing to make videos. And I just wanted to impart to you guys today that there's always hope. That even in your darkest, desperate moment, there's always hope. It's there, even if you can't see it. And I've been there. I've been in times when I just lay in bed and I feel guilty because I can't get out of bed, and I'm so depressed that I want to commit suicide. And as many times as I've tried to do that in the past, I don't think it's gonna work. So I've given up on that. And I don't mean to make light of it. Suicide is a big issue. And but I know what it's like to feel that way. I know what it's like to be just to be gone, just to not have the voices in your head, to not have the hallucinations, to not have the feeling of just being completely overwhelmed to the point where, you can't get out of your house. You don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to see anybody. I understand. I've been there, and I'm sure in the future, I may be there again. And that's the nature of mental illness. I saw my therapist yesterday, and was telling her everything, and she's like, "Paul, you're bipolar." This is this is part of being bipolar, and it sounds simplistic, and to be honest, I was kind of pissed off when she said it, but she's right. There's things that we do, or the way we think about things, or the way we handle situations is because of being mentally ill, and having a mental illness, and being bipolar. And I know there's some that say, no, there's no such thing as mental illness, and it's a spiritual thing, and and I have I'm not there yet, I guess. And I don't know if I will be, because science has basically proven that there's reason, or there's a brain chemistry issue for people with mental illness, and that's why the stigma is there. They're just somebody today. I saw they had posted and said, I know people have things worse, than me, and I wrote her back, and I said, you know what? I said, your mental illness is just as valid as another person's physical disability, and as a society, as a country, we don't think that way. They just lay in bed, they can get over it, and da 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 da. And you know what? It's not that way. It's sometimes it can be very, very dark, and it can be very, very lonely, and it can be very, very heartbreaking, but you're too numb, and you can't cry, or you can't smile, and you can't remember what it was like to be who you really are. And mental illness robs us of those things. But even in that, even in those times, I'll never forget, I have never, ever thought about hurting someone else in my mental illness. But there was one day I was laying in bed, and I was just so depressed. I stayed in bed, and the thoughts about suicide were just so intense, and I knew, if I called, my psychiatrist or a doctor or whatever, they'd want to put me in the hospital, and I knew it wasn't something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to have those thoughts. I didn't want to do that. And I remember fighting it in my own mind, and feeling like I was kind of in a prison, and not able to get out. And then I started having homicidal thoughts. And I had never had homicidal thoughts before. And that scared me. And the thing that keeps me going is my kids, and I would never want to damage them by some stupid thing that I did. And hopefully they can learn from me, and if there's a genetic component to mental illness, which they pretty much think there is. They've been to therapy with me. We've been to therapy as a family all together, and they understand how mental illness works, and so they know when, if in the future they go through an issue, that they'll know how to handle it. But again, all of that to say is that even in your darkest, desperate hour, there's always hope. And sometimes you have to reach out. It just, people aren't going to come by and see how you're doing, like if you had cancer, or people aren't going to come by and bring you meals like if you just got out of the hospital or whatever. They're not going to do that sort of thing because you have a mental illness and it's not a big deal. And that's kind of society's attitude, and so sometimes if you need support or you need encouragement, you have to reach out, and I believe there's a spiritual component to that if we do everything we can do ourselves, and we reach out, that we'll be able to, my spirit will connect with your spirit, and there'll be this divine connection, that happens, that where, like I said before, if I tried to move the pool table myself, I couldn't do it, but the power between the two of us will move that table, because that's a power greater than ourselves. And that's what we need to have, is that in fact, I think it's step 2 of the 12-step program, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And you think about that, and it's, wow, we can be restored. I don't know to what degree. I know some people are able to get back to work and have a job and take on responsibilities, and other people, they're able to just maintain where they're at. And so recovery is different for everybody, but again, the whole point is to not lose hope. And I mean, if you have to just get on Facebook and join a group to ask for help from like a bipolar or mental health support group, or picking up your phone and calling your county, or calling the medical clinics in your area to find out what help is available for you. Sometimes we have to do that. And my email where you can reach me is desertrainbow66@gmail.com. desertrainbow66@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on the bottom at the video, or you can reach me on Facebook as I'm Paul West. Friend me and tell me that, hey, I saw your video and I'd like to talk to you. And so again, there's always hope. Don't let go of hope. And if you can't believe, and you can't be hopeful, and you don't have faith, I'll have the faith for you. I can believe for you. I can have hope for you. And I can give you that as a gift that was given to me. Thank you. God bless.